So we have a new look for the podcast.
Yeah,
Just for this week.
Just for this week, we're
Yeah.
working on some studio renovations. Hopefully we'll get back to speed
unless you guys
next
like
week.
it. Unless they like it.
I don't mind this.
Yeah.
No.
I don't mind it. I thought I was like, oh no, what are we gonna do? But it's not too bad.
No,
Adapt
it's
and
not too
overcome.
bad.
Yeah, adapt, overcome, and just
Exactly.
find a way. And all of these teams have been finding ways to win, especially
there we
when
go.
we're diving into league play. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a new look of the podcast. We're going to break down the polls. There's major chaos over there. We're going to talk about our players of the week.
Yep,
Where
that's right.
you, the viewers, have the opportunity to vote on our YouTube page. And these guys are going to be making some picks.
Picks.
That's right.
Pick them, baby.
Pick 'em.
Pick 'em. It's back.
I love
Pick
it.
'em. Welcome to the Cover Cal High podcast. I'm your host, Jake Vanderbrook, alongside Tyler Flipson, Adrian Soriano on this MLK Day. Now, keep in mind, some of these teams are already playing right now because there's a lot of MLK tournaments that are going on. The polls are not affected by the games that are played today, that they're based on last week.
Yep.
But I want to start off the show talking about views from the lens, which is
right.
what are some of the best moments that we've
Brand new.
captured this week?
Brand new feature.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, actually, Age, why don't you get it started? Tell me what you saw views
want
from
me
the
to
lens.
start?
I want you to start, actually. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? I was at the Bruce Mahoney games in the Chase Center in San Francisco, and by the way, it's just the rivalry. The atmosphere, the environment is always great. But man, let me tell you, the game kind of sucked, at least for the boys' game. But man, I just loved it. I loved the fact that they're in the Chase Center finally. Right? Went to Gott's Roadhouse. Got a nice big burger thanks to Nikon who recommended that. So
Okay.
man, it was good, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. The kids enjoyed it. Just being able to play in a professional basketball arena. Just heightens
It's cool.
everyone's game.
No,
Yeah,
it's real
exactly.
neat.
Exactly.
All right.
Not as good as yours though.
Now, I mean, we can talk about a lot of different things, quality of game, settings, but you guys are familiar with Mr. Chestnut, right?
Joey Chestnut.
Well, you said
Joey
Mr. Chestnut, so
Mr. Chestnut.
Okay.
Anyway, continuing on. Hot dog eating contest, right? We've all
Yep,
heard of a
that's
hot
right.
dog. Well, if you make your way on over to Akalani's for a basketball game,
Yep.
they do things a little different around there.
Okay.
At halftime, I see these kids come rolling out with a table, big old tablecloths, and everyone's dressed up like chefs, by the way. It's chef's night, I guess. I guess that was the theme of the night. Well, what's going on? Hey, guys, I'm standing right next to them. Guys, what's happening? We got a meatball eating contest coming up.
Wow.
Meatball eating
So
contest.
how big with the meatballs?
Now, if I have to guess, I recognize them because, this sounds ridiculous, but I know my meatballs. And I'm pretty sure they're the chicken teriyaki pineapple meatballs from Costco. They're like so big.
Okay.
They're the
Yeah.
pack. I forget the brands. I think it's Adeli's or something like that is the brand. And great meatballs if they're the ones I'm thinking. With that being said, they had no marinara, nothing. I'm thinking that these meatballs should have been in marinara. These kids were struggling. We'll play some clips from this to show you guys because it was comedy.
Yeah.
It was comedy watching these kids stuff these. And they had a bowl of about 14 meatballs, I think.
Yeah, while some of the student section was eating meatballs, Acalanes, they were eating dubs.
Yes, they
That's
were.
right.
And we're going to find out if they're going to make it onto our poll. We'll see. Adrian's going to break that down
right.
for us. But if I had to talk about some of the best views from the lens based on what all of us shot this week, I got to go with Jack O'Mara hitting that buzzer beater from half court to beat Bishop O'Dowd at O'Dowd.
It's insane.
That's a statement.
Oh,
Ice
yeah.
in his veins.
What a crazy shot that was. I mean, you know what? You know what's funny? Earlier on Thursday, I was timing the show, and Robert was like, "Hey man, I may need some time, man. What if my game goes to overtime?" I'm like, Robert, don't you say that now, man. That's the last thing I kind of want because it kind of messes up everyone's time. And lo and behold, not only did it almost go to overtime,
That ended up getting play of the week, right?
it did win play of the week.
Okay,
so
okay.
I'll hit up. You know,
Go ahead.
I'll hit up Jack about like his information so we can send him a prize. So but that's crazy, man. It's Robert was like, oh, it's gonna go to overtime. Like, Robert, don't be saying that now, man. I don't want it to go to overtime. I want a good game. Don't go to overtime because now it ever messes with everyone's timing. But yeah, what a
What a
crazy
game.
finish.
It's an
Yeah.
unreal shot, unreal moment. I mean, I can only imagine that in person. The video Robert sent in our group chat, right? I got chills just from that.
Wow,
You know,
yeah.
it's
On the
great stuff.
road.
I know.
I know.
On the road, the silence the crowd at O'Dowd. A statement victory for those Alameda Hornets. So we did shoot Bishop O'Dowd boys last week, but we also shot the girls.
Yeah.
The girls team looking sharp. They're dominating league play. They had a really tough non-league schedule to start the season, and they had a statement victory at Piedmont.
Yeah, that's right.
After Piedmont steamrolled by San Leandro, what was that
the
now?
week
A
before.
week before,
Yep.
right? And, you know, Piedmont's still a darn good team from what I saw in that game against San Leandro. So for O'Dowd to do that, knowing the quality of basketball I saw from Piedmont, I'm impressed. So O'Dowd is every bit of real and here.
Yeah, and you talk about Jayla Stokes. 23 points she had in this game. She was shooting the long ball, and she was just clicking. She was in her bag. She was in her groove,
bag.
and nobody could stop her. She was outstanding, and she's a very intelligent player. And, you know, you see it on the court, and it shows in the classroom when she has a 4.1 GPA.
Yep.
So when you have a great shooter, and she's only a junior, and this Bishop O'Dowd team, you know, they got off to a bit of a tough start, but now they're starting to find a groove. They're starting to find a groove. It's like, you know, maybe this O'Dowd team can get back to the way they were last year.
Yeah.
The way they were last year when they ended up going to the Open Division, if I recall correctly. And then they had a semifinal round exit. Let's see what O'Dowd can do this time. They have to face Piedmont again later on this season.
At Bishop O'Dowd.
At
this
Bishop
time,
O'Dowd,
so-
and that's going to help them a lot.
Exactly.
So let's see what O'Dowd can do. And, you know, Subdai Chukwu also contributed with 11 points, so she also had a good game for those Dragons. O'Dowd, they're starting to click, and you're doing it in league play. That's very important.
Yeah, you know what? They challenge themselves, right?
Right.
All these teams, Bishop O'Dowd, both boys and girls, man, they challenge themselves with really, really tough tournaments that's outside of the area,
Yeah.
right? And even non-league games against, you know, really, really tough opponents. So, you know, again, you know, it's what builds you.
Yeah.
It builds you towards league play. It really prepares you for league play. And you know what? This is the difference between like a good team and a great team.
Yeah,
It's just your
absolutely.
non-league stuff.
And another thing with Bishop O'Dowd is, you know, they had a fantastic year last year. There's no and ifs or buts about it, right? From a coaching perspective, though, you only want to focus on the past so much. Of course, you want to get back to what you were and
Right.
create that same program. But at the end of the day, you don't want to be stuck reminiscing. At the end of the day, you got what you got in front of you, and you got to make do with what you have and make the best of the situation. And it's not even saying like they don't have a quality team to do that, you know, they do. It's just, you know, how much do you want to reflect on the past, saying like, man, I want to get back to where we were last year. It's like, no, one game at a time. We're
Right.
here. We're here now.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's
Yep.
go win.
Absolutely. So Bishop O'Dowd has won 3 of its last 4 games. So last Saturday, they lost to Reardon in
Oh,
a
my
tournament. That was
goodness.
a big game for those Crusaders. So Bishop O'Dowd won 3 of its last 4. So did San Ramon Valley. And we covered the girls last week in a huge East Bay League showdown against Carondelet.
Yep.
And this game went to overtime.
That was another shocker to me. I mean, to see San Ramon Valley do what they did to Carondelet, I was really impressed. Really impressed. Based off, especially the team that I saw last year, again with Carondelet too. Talking about BOD and their season last year, Carondelet season last year too. That girls team was fantastic. And so for San Ramon, I'm calling that an upset to some extent. I really was not expecting that at all.
You know what? I mean, I guess you can say it's an upset because, you know, Carondelet was the favorite, I guess. But, you know, I'm not really surprised. You know, John Cristiano does a great job at San Ramon Valley. He does a great job
does.
coaching up these girls in San Ramon. So I'm not really surprised now. I think it was at San Ramon Valley.
It was, yes.
So, you know, a little bit of a home court advantage there a little bit.
Yep.
Right, and they did go to overtime.
Yep.
Right, after a miracle last-second three-pointer from a freshman.
Yeah.
So a young team, a really, really good coach. That's the recipe for success for San Ramon.
Yeah.
So I'm not really surprised.
Yeah, and I can see that because, like you said, John Cristiano is an outstanding
Yeah.
coach. He is, no question about it. But who would have thought they only have 2 juniors on their roster.
Yeah.
All the rest, they're either sophomores or freshmen. There's no
Incredible.
seniors on this roster. I mean, you compare last year to all the senior talent that they had on that roster to this year. You know, for me, it's a bit of a surprise because I didn't think that they would be this good.
Yeah, well, you know what? They're this good they almost beat Pinewood on Saturday.
They
I think
almost
they lost
did.
by like 5 points. And Pinewood's a really, really
Yep.
good. I think Pinewood, for me, honestly, is probably more surprising than San Ramon Valley, just because, Pinewood, they kind of had a down year last year. Not saying that,
Yeah.
they had a successful they did have a successful
Right.
season. But, just like in terms of like what they've had in the past, right?
You have high expectations for them,
it's
sure.
like, it's like really, really surprising. Oh my goodness, Pinewood is beating everyone they beat Salesian by a lot on the road.
Yep.
They beat Priory on the road by a lot. And now, they beat a good San Ramon Valley team. So, yeah.
Maya Knapp, 15 points along with 9 rebounds. You had Alyssa Rudd with a double-double, 12 points with 18 rebounds. But the player of the game for San Ramon Valley has to be Caitlin Mills. She dropped 21 points, including the buzzer beater, the force overtime.
Can you talk about,
And she's a freshman.
that's what I was about to say. That's what I want to bring attention to, in case we haven't enough already. I don't think we could ever do enough justice to it. Because that's incredible. To come in, that has to be so intimidating. I can't imagine being a freshman on varsity and having to perform at that level without getting in your own head.
And you have to take the shot. And it looked packed. The stands looked packed at that game.
I know.
I mean, considering San Ramon Valley De La Salle was also happening at the same time.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, they still got a good crowd.
Yeah.
Right, considering.
No, that's beyond cool to see that. I can't think from a coaching perspective. I can't help but think from a coaching perspective as well. Excuse me. Is how excited you got to be with that, having such a young team, knowing the investment in what you have. But equally as it is scary, though, like, oh man, these are young girls. They're learning the game still at the end of the day. Some of them. So it's equally as exciting as nerve-wracking, I'm sure, from a coaching perspective. But it's so darn cool to see that. So I'm excited to watch them.
And again, it comes to coaching, right? Coach Cristiano,
Right, yeah.
He's got a lot of confidence with his girls, and a freshman taking that shot, that's something you don't really see often. But he had the confidence in Caitlin Mills to take that shot, right? And again, gotta be the girls too, right? They gotta be confident too. You can't
Money
be scared.
Mills, baby.
Yeah, you can't be scared in
And
the
with
moment.
that play, I don't know if you guys were able to see it, but Alyssa Rudd setting the screen for Caitlin Mills to have the open look. That is crucial. If that screen is never set up,
You may not have that play.
you may not have that play.
That spacing, right? That was very.
That
very
made the
important.
difference.
Exactly.
So if you don't set that screen, that's going to be a tough look.
yeah.
Have a day, Caitlin Mills. Have
Have
a
a
day.
day. And she is one of our nominees for Player of the Week.
That's right.
That's what the viewers are going to have to vote for. We'll give you all the candidates
right.
later on in our show. Adrian's also going to mention where SRV is ranked in the poll. We talked about them beating Carondelet. They lost to Pinewood. We talked briefly about that. So where is SRV going to be ranked? Adrian's going to tell you that in just a little bit. Actually, he's going to talk about it now.
Right
I just
now.
looked at the rundown, and I'm like, all right, girls basketball poll. Adrian, take it away.
Hey, it's kind of a brand new kind of rundown.
Yeah.
Let's see
It's
it.
all right. Well, you know what? What it does say here only mention the changes. So I will not mention our number one team because it's still
We
the
know.
number one team. We know who it is. Okay, I know they lost a game in Springfield.
Out of state.
Yeah, out of state.
Across the country.
Yeah, I don't think listen. I don't think anyone's gonna beat Midi until NorCal's. Probably Folsom. Folsom is pretty good.
Yeah, like
team.
I said, I could see Folsom being a dangerous 2 or 3 seed in that open division for the NorCal bracket.
But yeah, well, Pinewood goes up to number 2.
Okay.
Number 2.
Yep.
Oakland goes up to number 3. San Ramon Valley goes up to number 4. And Carondelet, who was our number 2 team last week, goes all the way down to number 5 because of the loss, right? Again, I'm not gonna drop them all the way out of the pool, right? San Ramon Valley is a good team. Went to overtime on the road too. On the road, you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
On the road,
Yeah, and,
right?
and
It's a lot harder.
Carondelet's going to be okay.
They're gonna be just
They're gonna
fine.
be fine.
But you know what? Hey, this might be a little sneak peek of what the NCS Open Division is gonna be, right? Oakland is number 1, San Ramon Valley number 2, Carondelet number 3, and then
Could be SRV number 1.
no, because I think they lost Oakland, so that the head to head was there. So that's why I think Oakland is going to be the number 1 seed. And they're a good team, too, and we're going to get them this week
We will see.
on the show. So I think Oakland Tech moved up to 6, but SI did move up to number 7 because they beat Sacred Heart Cathedral in the Bruce Mahoney game, and that was to win the Bruce Mahoney Trophy.
They were at number 8 last
and
week,
they
if
were
I
at
recall.
number 8 or number 9,
Yep.
right? And Reardon has entered our poll.
Yeah.
What?
I'm
Welcome,
very
Reardon.
surprised
Yeah.
about what I mean. I know Reardon had a decent good team last year, but I didn't see this coming this year.
They were solid.
Wow,
They were solid.
Reardon.
I mean, at one point last year, you did put Reardon girls on the poll.
Did I put him on the
You
poll?
put him at number 10 last year.
Okay.
It was like towards like late December, early January, if I recall correctly.
So that's the
There's his
difference.
memory
Is like,
going again. There it goes. He's
but
doing
see, that's
his
the
thing.
difference. Is like, you know, I had him before league play.
Yep.
I have him in the poll during league play, so that speaks a lot.
Yeah,
you know, it's still
absolutely.
fairly. I think that's like this is like their second year.
Yeah.
So, you know, very, very impressed with the girls program in Clayton Valley at number 10.
All right.
Yeah,
Clayton Valley number
yeah,
10.
and talking about some bubble teams, and I think Bishop O'Dowd's a bubble team.
Bishop O'Dowd's
and
a bubble
I
team.
know they're, 9-6, I get it, but that tough non-league, the tough teams that they
Exactly.
faced. So, and now they're starting to click. I think you consider them as a bubble team.
They're a bubble team. Salesian, who dropped out, is still a bubble team.
Would you consider Piedmont after
You-
last
People-
week?
Piedmont's still a bubble team. Piedmont
Okay.
was in the pool
Took
last
the
week.
words out of my mouth. I was just
You
going
know.
to ask about Piedmont.
Yeah, no, they're still a bubble team.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All
Solid
right.
10, though.
Yeah.
Your basketball, I usually have more issues with your football poll sometimes, but your
Well,
basketball
you know,
polls this season have
we're
been
not
on-
talking about football no more, man.
Of
That's
course,
true.
I know.
That's
I
true.
know. I'm
All right,
just
let's
comparing.
get to the boys basketball poll.
my
And now
goodness.
before Adrian dives into this, Adrian, I agree with the 10 teams that are in this poll. I don't agree with the order.
Okay, well, that's all right. Well, you know, we embrace debate on the show.
Okay.
But
Absolutely.
let me tell you
And
a
I'm
little
going to
bit
give you a really important question that I hope you prepare for. All right.
Well, you know what? But anyway, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Right. Top 2 does not change. Top 2 does not change until we get to number 3, which is going to be St. Ignatius, who had a very impressive win against Sacred Heart Cathedral. Now, that game didn't really...
Salesian was number 2 last week.
Salesian was... Oh, no, that's right.
Dela-
Salesian, so Dela was number 2.
Dela's
So
no-
Salesian goes up to number 3 by
Okay.
default. SI, impressive win against Sacred Heart Cathedral, even though that game did not didn't mean much in the Bruce Mahoney because it was already settled but in the girls' game. But they also beat Mitty at Mitty, which has not happened in, about 5 years?
Okay.
So very, very impressive for those Wildcats. Tech I think Tech was still number 4. They were probably number 5, but they're number 4. De La Salle. Now here is the dilemma that I have: is De La Salle beat San Ramon Valley earlier last week. Then they lose to Doherty, but San Ramon Valley beat Doherty. So now my option is, well, okay, who had a better strength of schedule? And I gave that to De La Salle. No surprise, because they played the Tournament of Champions in Arizona.
They faced Harvard Westlake.
They faced Harvard Westlake, right? So just that alone gave them the advantage of the strength of schedule. So they go down to number 5, even though they did lose to Doherty Valley. Moreau Catholic number 6. Liberty number 7, and California, the Cal Grizzlies. Shout out to Coach Steve Ohlmeyer. They are the only undefeated team in the East Bay League at 3-0. Now, it was another close game against Monte Vista on the road, but 3-0 is 3-0.
But the game against Dublin.
And they beat Dublin.
Dublin.
Guess what? They beat Dublin where? On the road in
That's big.
overtime, right? Dane
Those
Wallace.
Grizzlies continue the claw, baby.
Oh my
That's
god! You know what?
crashing and
Hey,
clawing.
they're really, really impressive. You know what'd you say about St. Ignatius last fall? That they have your attention. Where's the camera? Right here.
Yep.
California, you have my attention now.
Has their first 3 wins in league, are they all on the road? Do they have a
No,
touchdown?
they beat Amador Valley.
That game was out.
I think they beat Amador Valley on the road too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Robert
So,
covered that game.
that's right.
And
I
then
think
they were at
all-
Dublin.
Dublin in overtime. Dane Wallace, who's also our Player of the Week candidate.
Yep.
Game winner
Last
at
week.
Dublin.
So not only undefeated in league at 3-0, undefeated on the road to start
Right.
the
On
league.
the
I
road.
feel like that's even a
Right.
bigger statement to be able to
Right.
do that on the road.
Exactly, and the East Bay League it's one of the toughest.
I know.
It's no joke. The league
it's
where
not.
you never know what to expect,
And, well, here
ladies
we
and
are.
gentlemen.
Okay,
And,
Cal.
well, here
I
we
see
are,
you, Cal.
right?
Wow.
Not saying it's World War 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but you know
They got Granada and SRV coming up.
exactly.
Yeah,
Hey,
some
I
big
don't care
ones.
what Granada's record is. They are a tough matchup.
We got, not to get ahead of ourselves because we're going to talk about this later, but we got big matchups this week.
Oh,
We got matchups
yeah.
all over
And
the
we'll-
board.
and we'll-
all
For
over
both
the board.
basketball and soccer.
And
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
absolutely.
We'll get to that.
Absolutely.
And so San Ramon Valley number 9
Okay.
again, right? couldn't really put Doherty in this just because they played Independence from San Jose. Now, it's a win, but guys, it was a tournament, so it's really not their fault. But, that Independence game kind of hurts their strength of schedule, right? And Midi goes down to number 10.
There you have it.
Wait, so SRV faced Independence?
Yeah, in like a tournament.
I thought SRV.
No,
I thought SRV faced
Doherty.
Yeah,
I said Doherty.
SRV faced Clayton Valley.
They faced
after
Clayton
they
Valley,
faced Livermore.
and I think they also played in the Crusader Classic too. So
Yep.
that's another tough
Okay.
tournament.
So here's all right. So
Is this the big question
all
for
right,
him?
this is the big question.
okay. I'm ready for it.
So last week you had De La Salle at number 2,
yes,
and you had Midi at number 6.
yes.
So my question to you is, okay, so De La Salle lost to a team that's not even ranked on the polls. They lost by 12 points, right? To Doherty Valley Friday night.
Unranked, yep.
Midi also Friday night lost to St. Ignatius, a team that is ranked above Midi. And
No,
it
no,
was
no, no.
it
Oh,
was
yeah,
above
that's right.
it was above Midi, and the deficit was also 12 points. So my question to you, Adrian, is why is De La Salle why did you drop De La Salle 3 spots compared to Midi, where you dropped them 4 spots?
I just think that the De La Salle schedule is a lot better than Midi's schedule, and man, De La Salle lost to Doherty Valley's Jalen Stokes, who had he had like 40 something points.
He had a great game.
Another one? Oh my god.
I mean, listen, I
And
know
I'm
it's
40
still early,
bombs.
but we should probably consider him for Player of the Year.
Yeah,
It's in discussion.
it
It's in
definitely is
discussion.
in discussion for
But
sure.
again, I'm not really impressed with Midi overall. Listen, they have a good team.
Yep.
And I really love covering that team. Coach Kennedy's a good coach, but they had trouble with Valley Christian, and that's a warning sign for me immediately.
But this Valley Christian team beat Doherty Valley.
Who did not have Jalen Stokes?
That's true.
Keep that in mind,
That
right?
is true.
They beat Doherty Valley at home too. So
True.
Doherty had to go to Valley Christian. They did not have their best player, and they lost by 9 points or something like that.
Right.
So imagine if I can't say fantasy, right? Because we're trying to shy away from that. But
And with San Ramon Valley, yes, they went 2-1 on the week with they beat Livermore Friday night, and then the next day they beat Clayton Valley. Those are 2 great wins for those Wolves,
Yes.
and then they lost to De La Salle. They were number 9 last week. This week they're still at number 9. So what I'm saying is De La Salle had a tough loss to Doherty Valley. They dropped 3 spots.
Yep.
San Ramon Valley lost to De La Salle, and they stay. Now, granted, I agree with these 10 teams.
Yes.
I'm just saying, I think Midi should be number 9
okay,
based on dropping 3 spots, the same amount of value as you dropped De La Salle.
Yes.
And you only dropped SRV just 1 spot to number 10.
I agree.
and the reason for that is
good
they
point.
beat Doherty Valley,
Right.
right? And here's the key thing too. Is Midi had trouble with Sarah when they played the first time. Now, granted, it was at Sarah, but they had fits.
Midi
against
still
Sarah.
won by 10,
They
though.
still won by 10. They pulled away, but just the fact that was close, and St. Ignatius killed Sarah.
Yep.
They blew them out of the court, right? The Sarah game is also one of my things.
Right.
Well, they had trouble with Sarah, and SI didn't really have
And
that.
I was going to connect Sarah and Midi to Acalanes because Acalanes played Sarah. They lost by double figures. Granted, they didn't have one of their
Exactly,
top
yeah.
players in that game, but Midi, I think one of the reasons why you can say Midi is still on this poll is because they
Acalanes
beat Sarah.
Yep, that's right. They beat Sarah, and Acalanes did not. I thought about Acalanes for a little bit. They're a very impressive squad, but just
Yeah.
that Sarah game, I get it. They had guys out, but you know what? A lot of teams have injuries that they deal with, right? So can't really you can only go so far with injuries as an excuse. I'm not saying that they're
Yeah.
making it as an excuse, but you can only go so far with
Palo
injuries.
Alto on the bubble.
I was gonna say.
Pally, yes. I think again. Remember what I said about Jalen Stokes? Jarrell Clark should also be considered. This guy is scoring points like crazy. He had like 40 points this weekend.
Against MA. MA's a solid team.
MA is also in the bubble. I'm just saying. I know that I didn't put that in.
Oakland has to.
Pally, Oakland, Doherty.
Yeah,
you know?
Doherty, yeah.
So now we're starting. Remember what I said last week? Now we're starting to narrow down the bubble teams.
Let me ask you this: how deep into the bubble is Amador Valley? Where are they? I feel like they're
Amador Valley's 2-1 in league play.
I feel like Amador's kind of a sleeper team. I feel like they're someone you don't want to sleep on. Those Kruger brothers.
I think
are no joke.
I think that loss to Cal though, that kind of
Yeah.
Sure,
it kind of set the tone a little bit. I would still consider Amador Valley top 20, not top 15.
I'm giving them top 15. I think
Top 15.
I would give them top.
Okay,
15.
so now so we
I
have
would-
we have 10 teams here.
I would put Amador Valley at like 17, in my opinion.
I think
I'm
they're
pro-
14 and 15. I see them heating up late in the year. That they're a team that sneaks up on you, and here they come. They're running hot. You know, and
Man,
you
just
got
the
you got to
problem is-
understand though who's in their league.
Exactly.
Absolutely,
San
I
Ramon
know.
Valley,
Oh, no, I know.
De La Salle, Doherty,
Dublin.
Dublin.
Right.
Can't sleep on Dublin.
You
Dublin
cannot
was on
sleep
the
on
roll.
Monta Vista either. Monta Vista,
Who almost
don't
beat
sleep
Cal.
on, exactly. Don't sleep on the Monta Vista Mustangs.
that league is a blast, beyond entertaining, right? So it's anybody's league, but
Right.
that's
Yeah.
I don't know something about that Amador Valley team that I saw a couple weeks ago, and I've been keeping an eye on them. I think that's someone that could get hot.
And that's going to help.
It's an interesting basketball poll.
Yes,
Not to
it will.
mention another set of brothers. I was talking about the Kruger brothers, at Amador Valley, the Mom brothers at Acalanes. Maddox Mom, and it started with an M. There's another M. It's MM. I know that. It just made me laugh. But Maddox Mom dominated in his game that I covered last week.
Mom before the storm.
Oh, that's a new
good
one.
They're usually pretty
That's a
cheesy.
new one.
That's good. I liked that.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Because you need my approval, of course.
Well, I
There you
mean,
go.
Rumble. Let me tell you this. I mentioned Rumble for the Crumble weeks back. I want to say it was like 8-9 weeks ago, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm not about it. But you've been saying it all along in the office.
Oh, yeah. I do it for you, though.
Okay. All right.
You won't see it in my script or anything like that. But for you, yeah. I do.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's make our way to soccer polls. For the
All right.
first time ever, we got soccer polls,
That's
ladies
right.
and gentlemen.
All right.
We're mentioning it on our podcast. Very
Yep.
exciting stuff. Adrian, we had some changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, we did. Well, so
Do you want to start with the girls, or you want?
Well, I think I have
ladies
the girls.
first.
I have the girls here. I have the
Yeah,
girls
ladies
here.
first.
So,
All right.
Okay, so this one's different than basketball, right? Because
Yep.
this is our first time mentioning the soccer polls. So, but even though we've had it in on social media. So, but anyway, Midi is number 1. St. Francis number 2. I know they lost to Midi. Ladies and gentlemen, I was at that game. Okay, I was at that game.
Great
and
game.
Midi won because of an own goal. It was a miscommunication, I guess, from the defender to
Little friendly fire?
Yeah, a little friendly fire. So, yeah, so St. Francis is still number 2. Okay, let's not get too hasty.
And we know we'll see them play each other again.
Again,
It will happen.
And Lee is number 3.
Horns up.
Horns out. Hey, you're Lee Longhorns.
That's
Yeah,
They've had a good program.
that's a
for
great
long time.
program.
They've had a good
years.
program.
And they're
Great
having a
coach.
great season thus far.
And-
Big league game coming up this week, though, that we're going to be covering.
That's right.
More about that later on in the show.
Yep. Corondelet number 4, San Ramon Valley number 5, Branham number 6, Bishop O'Dowd number 7. Lee's opponent this week, which will be on the show, the Pioneer Mustangs at number 8. Amador Valley number 9 and Los Gatos number 10.
Okay, Adrian and Tyler, from your eyes, besides St. Francis, who's another team that could possibly make a case to beat Midi?
Lee.
Whether it's in the CCS or NorCal's.
Lee.
It's
I
Lee
was
for
going
you.
to say Lee also.
Okay.
Yeah, before you said that. They've had a great program there for years. I might be a little biased being an alumni,
Sure.
but still, I do think, if I'm going to set aside my bias, I do think if there's going to be a team outside of St. Francis, I see Lee making a case, which would be insane.
I think Lee is the dark horse. I think Midi's still the favorite, in my opinion, right? Not saying, St. Francis is very, very close.
Yeah.
Right. And, honestly, I really wish that own goal did never happen, man. And I also wish that we have overtime in regular soccer, man, because they'll just play like 95 minutes, honestly.
One thing you got to keep in mind, though, Branham's
Branham's a sleeper.
They forced a draw against St. Francis
No,
a
that
few
was
weeks
Leland.
ago.
That's Leland.
That was Leland?
I think that was Leland.
Oh, I'm thinking Brandon Valley Christian.
Brandon Valley Christian,
That's
that's
what I'm thinking of. That was also a draw, if I recall
I
correct.
think you're right. Yeah.
Yep. At Leland, St.
Really
Francis,
tough
that was a draw.
Yeah, I think honestly, and how did Leland take the lead? It was a goalie mistake,
Sure.
right? So is this a concern for St. Francis? Right, that's twice now where something happened around that. area.
Actually, if I recall correctly, they didn't have Cameron Rosa out there, I don't think.
Yeah, I get that, but honestly, you take that mishap away, it should have been 1-0 St. Francis, right? Even though they had some of their top players not playing against Leland.
Sure.
That goal for Leland against St. Francis, that should have never happened.
Yep.
Right? And the mini St. Francis thing, that shouldn't happen either, but that's kind of more common with just miscommunication. But, that's twice now. Is this a growing concern for St. Francis? We'll have to wait and see, but, that's not something you don't want to lose a
Right.
game that way.
Sure.
It's a tough way to lose the game. Now, have they changed goalies? Is it the same goalie?
I
Without
think
naming
they
names? Is
changed
this-
goalies against Midi because I think they had number 1 in the first half and they had number 19 in the second half. So I don't know what's going on there, right? And you just have to trust that Coach Barboza will figure something out as we go along with the season. So
And that's what I was about to say. Is that if we're talking about it here, they're well aware of their problem. As far
Oh,
as
yeah,
coaches go,
absolutely.
they're well aware of what's going on. The team. If we're talking about it as light as we are now, you can
Yeah.
only imagine what's going on inside that locker room of what's
yeah,
being said.
and,
So
and that Midi St. Francis game was physical, man. I mean,
And they'll
you
see
had
each
girls,
other
you had
again.
girls coming out like girls, they had like they were bleeding and they had to get taped up.
They play
during
hard.
games. So
Yeah.
it's a
but
physical game.
again, like we said to start this conversation,
It's good quality soccer.
It is
at the end
good
of the
quality
day.
soccer.
They're going to see each other again. They always
Absolutely.
do. It's a great matchup every single time those teams play each other, whether it's boys or girls. We're talking about the
Yeah.
girls right now, but it's always a great matchup between those two,
Yeah.
and it's always competitive.
Exactly.
Yeah, and let's talk about the boys soccer
poll. On
poll.
that note,
Midi
why-
was number 1 last week.
Oh boy.
And a lot happened.
Yeah.
Especially with that matchup against Sarah.
Okay, well, so here we go. By the way, I think the Sarah soccer team watches our podcast. Shout out to the boys at Sarah, man, because they kind of said something about Midi being number 1, and well, we killed Midi, so shout out to
It's a
Sarah.
great win for those
It's a very
Padres.
good win. But anyway, on to the polls. Bellarmine.
Yeah.
Hey, I will not say anything about this team because they're a good team. Bellarmine at number 1.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Bells.
I have a lot to say about
Yeah,
those bells.
yeah, and I was gonna say, Tyler, you covered them last Thursday against St. Ignatius. Bellarmine went on to win 3-1. For you, Tyler, what's the one thing that stood out the most with the Bells?
Time of possession.
Yeah.
I mean, the ball was. I didn't have to see much Bellarmine defense. I mean, I got down there a couple times, but was there ever any real shot on net? No. I mean, they never saw any real attempts at the goal. And it's because that Bellarmine defense was able to get out of there, and then they were on offense. Usually the saying is the best offense is a good defense, right? Or defense wins championships, whatever. Their offense was constantly down the field pressuring SI.
And that's the key right there.
And they had it. And so given SI was down their starting goalie. I don't know if he's hurt. I didn't hear exactly what the issue was. So they had a young goalie pulled up from JV. And Bellarmine knew that. I mean, they knew, and understandably so. This goalie that got pulled up, he was nervous. He was nervous, and those Bells knew it though.
Yeah.
They said, "Keep pressuring." I got to hear him. Any opportunities to chat. So yeah, their time possession is incredible. The way they move the ball down the field, they're a cohesive unit that works as one. A unit is an understatement for the way that they work together.
Yeah.
They're a talented team and well coached.
I mean, there's a reason why Bellarmine went on to win a NorCal title 2 years ago.
Exactly.
I
I
mean,
mean,
the
they're
programs that they put together are phenomenal.
They're always a good program, always good.
They had a
coaching.
bit of a down year last
Last
year,
year.
if I recall correctly.
But last year was like Midi is St. Francis last year.
right.
Yeah,
True.
so-
True.
But,
But
anyway.
Bellarmine off to a good start though.
That's right. And so now Doherty Valley. I think Doherty Valley has De La Salle's
Let me
number,
tell
man.
you
Doherty Valley
something.
at number 2.
Let me tell you, I was shocked with the performance from Doherty Valley with what
Yeah.
they did to De La Salle at De La Salle. De La Salle is a great soccer team, by the
yeah.
way. And what Derek Brown does with that squad over in Concord, marvelous. He always
Yep.
does a great job. Doherty Valley, though, man, They are good. Ricky Feliciano in that match. 2 goals, 1 assist for the senior captain.
You know, I think Doherty's got De La Salle's number, man. I
Really?
really think so.
Wow.
I covered Doherty against De La, was it a couple years ago, and Doherty beat him like 2-0.
I remember that because
Right.
I was also at
That's
Doherty
right,
for
that's right,
basketball.
exactly, that's
and
right.
they faced De La
La Salle,
Salle,
and I
it was
went there
at
after.
one point it was called the Sun Power Electric game,
Yep.
and it was a
That's a fun
great
time.
game.
And I remember I got to that game just before tip-off.
Yep.
Because my game started a little bit early, and his was like at 7:30. So,
Yep.
There you go.
but anyway, Berkeley number 3.
Defending NCS
Berkeley
champs.
number 3. De La Salle number 4.
Defending NCS champs.
That's right.
Hey, maybe this is the turnaround right here, right? Maybe they just get hot.
I feel
and
like
go
we
all the
always
way
sleep on
into-
Berkeley.
We always sleep on Berkeley. They're always a good program, though. Always a good program.
Always. Yep.
Yeah. Clayton Valley number 5. Alameda number 6. Midi all the way down to number 7.
Yeah.
Mountain View number 8. Oakland is 9. Kepler to 10. Now you notice Sarah's not in this poll. Well, why is that? Well, they lost to St. Francis.
Yeah.
Who's having a down year. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
So hey, maybe they will see the poll
Yeah.
later in the season, but for now they are out of the poll.
Didn't they play Bellarmine last week?
I think they did.
I thought Bellarmine was at Sarah last week.
That's right. They were at Sarah. I think Bellarmine.
I don't quite
I'm
recall.
not-
I'm
yeah, I
not
don't-
confident enough to make a statement
Yeah.
on it. I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah.
But
But they did play. They did play last week.
Yeah, you know, and if we have to pick soccer players of the week based on the games that we shot, I said it before with Feliciano from
Yeah.
Doherty Valley, 2 goals, 1 assist. The captain was just outstanding in that game, and what Doherty Valley was able to do, time of possession, the communication was spot on, and the ability to get some good looks and pressure when they were in the Spartan zone. I thought that was just fantastic what Doherty Valley was able to put together. So a great win for those Wildcats, and Feliciano, he's got to be the boys soccer player of the week.
with a lot of season left, here's a question. With Bellarmine at number 1 and being as good as we seem to think they are, who takes down Bellarmine? Who has a shot of being able to
Midi.
take them down, stop them?
Midi.
If this is NorCal, because if you're factoring in NorCal, you got to think of the teams up north.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. Maybe
But-
I mean, let's not.
Let's put it at local level first then.
Sure. Okay. So local level, CCS wise,
Yeah.
Midi.
I think you can make a great case for Midi.
I don't think St. Francis could.
Well, no, I don't. St. Francis is having a down year this year, though,
Yeah.
so that's the thing. So again,
I thought you couldn't
right.
make that as an excuse though.
No, well,
I think
no. But they lost. I think they lost a lot of.
you never know what you're going to get from Mountain View. I think you can make a
Oh,
case for
Mountain View's
Mountain
pretty good,
View.
yeah.
They're a sleeper. They're always a solid program.
Mountain View is a dark horse.
Okay.
They are a dark horse. But again, right now you gotta understand this is not basketball where hey,
Right,
listen,
true.
If your team is not that good and you're playing an overpowered team, you're probably gonna lose 99 times out of 100. In soccer, it's a little bit different because listen, you can have 15 on-target shots and score nothing,
Yeah.
and your opponent has like 2 on-target shots and they score 1 goal and that's the final.
Yeah, and-
you just never know with soccer.
It stresses me
and
out.
soccer is a wild sport, and you know what they always say, and I learned this from the World Cup, watching the World Cup numbers and numbers of years, in my lifetime. It's always dangerous to play with a 2-goal lead.
Oh, absolutely, right? Because
Yeah.
then teams relax, and all of a sudden the opposing team scores a goal, and now they have the momentum, and all of a sudden they're in the lead. So
Momentum's a big
it
deal
is a
for
big
sure.
thing for
from-
soccer. Absolutely,
huge,
right?
yeah.
Absolutely. All it takes is like a team like St. Francis. I'm not gonna say that they're gonna lose to Bellarmine. They can beat Bellarmine.
Right.
All it takes is one counterattack and 1 goal, and them defending really, really well for 80 minutes.
Really quick, Adrian, who would you have to select for your girl soccer player of the week?
Oh my God, this is a really well. I don't think you can get anything from Midi St. Francis.
What about the goalie? Didn't the goalie have a great game?
Tukakovic? Oh,
yeah.
she had a good game, but I think an Aubrey's game, somebody had like 2 or 3. Oh, Ava Hara from Clayton Valley had 2 goals, so
Oh,
she's gonna.
and
be
that
a
was
goal
against
stopper.
Miramonte.
Against Miramonte. Again, not taking anything away from Layla Tukakovic. She was spectacular for Midi. She had a leg save that kept St. Francis out of the score sheet. So
Could be a candidate for dirty work. Fine.
I think it is dirty work play.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think your block the San Ramon Valley block is the D line.
Oh, that Conley block
Oh
was
my
vicious.
God.
But, all right. But let's talk about the players of the week. So these were the candidates that we selected, and we're going to have a graphic of this.
Okay.
So starting off with the girls, Lulu Giametti, with what she can do with the three-point ball is just outstanding. She scored all 18 of her points from beyond the arc.
Yep.
You had Caitlin Mills, the freshman. We talked about the amazing performance she
Yep.
had for SRV with 21 points. Catherine Garr from Pinewood, 19 points, 7 rebounds. Robert covered that game.
That's
and
right.
Pinewood went on to beat Priory, and they took that game personal compared to last year.
Well,
Yes,
because
they
Priory
did.
beat them.
right.
Yeah.
So
And then, obviously, you can't forget about Jayla Stokes from O'Dowd, 23 points.
I'm going with my girl Lulu Giametti because I covered her game.
Any
And
relation?
it's off the bench too, and she's a freshman.
Any relation to Rocco Giametti, who was an outstanding baseball star for those Wildcats?
I think so.
Yeah.
So. I really think so. Yeah.
What about you,
We'll
Tyler?
go for Lulu.
Unrelated to Jalen Stokes, not related at all, but Jayla Stokes is
Okay.
Yeah.
has a standout to me. Top tier performance. I really loved seeing what she did, and with the rest of the season to go, still so much to prove. But entirely unrelated to Jalen Stokes. We had to clarify.
Yeah, I got to go with Caitlin Mills. And the reason why I say this is because you're a freshman. And, you know, there's so much on the line when it comes to a big league game like that against Carondelet, when it's really between them versus you for that league title. And when you're in a situation when you need to nail a three-pointer, and she had ice in her veins as a freshman to get that shot off. It was well executed, by the way, and the shot was superb. And then she was able to carry her team
In overtime.
into the extra period, extra frame, overtime, as we call it. And San Ramon Valley, a great win for those Wolves.
Absolutely.
I got to go with Caitlin Mills, the
right.
freshman.
All great choices. I mean, you really can't go wrong. So many. I mean, it's tough choices all around.
Yep.
Tough choices all
And
around.
you viewers can vote for Player of the Week. We got all the choices up on our YouTube page. So it's only 99 cents to vote. So get voting. Come on.
Exactly.
Let's
Get
see
to
who's going to
voting.
win.
Let's go.
Yeah.
It's up to you, America.
Yep. So that's the girls. That's the girls.
All right.
But let's make our way over to the boys. So De La Salle, Alec Blair, 22 points in that win against SRV.
Okay.
As we covered, a great game, by the way.
Yep.
The kid got hot in the fourth quarter with scoring majority of points down the stretch there. You look at Raymond Whitley. Raymond Whitley, let me tell you, when he was a freshman at SI, and I saw him in a couple games a couple years ago, it's like, man, this kid can play.
He's good.
He's
a
a
really good
very talented player. Sky's the limit for that young man. Outstanding southpaw shooter. 18 points in that victory in the Bruce Mahoney game.
Yep.
Against Sacred Heart Cathedral. Malm before the storm, and it's Maddox Malm with the double-double of 15 points along with 11 boards.
I think I know what Tyler's gonna pick.
And-
I'm just saying.
but you gotta go. But Jack O'Mara, you gotta consider him the game winner, half-court buzzer beater that beat Bishop O'Dowd, 19 points.
I'm gonna go with
for
Mr.
Alameda.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Jack O'Lantern, Jack O'Mara. Jack O'Mara. I think I said his name wrong. But yeah, I'm going with him, man. I'm going with him. Alameda.
If you're going off of a moment, yeah, Jack O'Mara. I mean that.
Yeah,
is great.
it's
That's
gotta
so
be.
cool.
Yeah.
But longevity. Excuse me. But longevity, like Adrian said, of the entirety of the game, I'm gonna go with Maddox. I mean, double. He was a force. I mean, the guy is insane. The way that he could play defense and on offense.
Yeah, that's why I said I already know what you're gonna pick. I'm just not gonna say.
Yep.
I gotta go Blair. I mean, this is the toughest league in the East Bay. Blair is just a clutch. When he needs to contribute, when it's needed most, he is going to deliver. Whether it's going to be him scoring or him being an outstanding facilitator to give his teammates excellent looks down the stretch, I got to go with Blair. And what he did down the stretch against San Ramon Valley was just fantastic for De La Salle to get that victory.
Yep.
Absolutely. I love that we got diverse picks. No overlap. You know, everyone
Yeah.
got one of each.
Yep.
And again, voting's up to you guys then too from there.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Let's get to some of our picks now.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
New
so
segment.
A
One
brand new
game
segment.
for each sport. This is what we're
Okay.
starting off with. So you guys are making picks. I'm not doing.
You don't wanna make picks?
I'm not doing picks.
Oh, I love it. No, I love all
All right,
the
that's
questions on
all
you and I. So when I could tell you that you were wrong and I was right.
Yeah, I know. Hey, you know what?
Yeah, I don't want to keep telling you guys every week that I'm right and you guys are wrong. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all right, man.
I'm sure.
All right.
All right, but let's start off with girls soccer. A great Mount Hamilton division showdown between Pioneer and Lee. And I believe, Adrian, you're going to be shooting this game.
I will be shooting this game, but I know it's on a rundown, but I'm actually gonna pick a different game. I'm gonna go. I know. Oh no! Wait a minute. Now wait a minute.
Wait! What? We're picking this game.
Oh, I thought we
Pioneer-
could pick.
No,
I thought we
Pioneer-
could pick anyone from.
No.
No. I got
Oh,
the rundown.
This is a
here.
game master.
okay,
You're just in the
okay.
game
Yeah.
master.
My bad. I'm
all
sorry.
right?
I'm so sorry.
Pioneer Lee
sorry.
girls soccer.
I'm gonna go with Lee.
Why?
They're a good program, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, they've had a good program for a long time, and not taking anything away from Pioneer, right? Pioneer's having a good season this year, but man, it's just like Lee. Lee is one of the favorites to win a section title this year. I have to go with Lee. And I know you're going for Lee too. Look at that
Gold
stare.
medalist Naomi Girma went to Pioneer.
That's right. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But I'm going with Lee.
Those Stangs have been rumbling and rolling down the way.
No way. You're not
Mustang
picking.
Country,
There's no way.
let's
There's
ride.
no.
Mustang
You're telling
Country.
me right now you're gonna pick against your old alma mater?
Pioneer's been running hot.
Oh,
Mustang
boy.
Country's been rumbling.
Wow.
But not rumbling loud enough for those Longhorns because that Stampede comes in hotter and
Okay.
heavier than any other squad. I'm taking Lee over Pioneer.
Okay. All right. So we're taking.
But
Lee,
I'm
all
good.
right.
But I'm going to tell you this though, for both teams. I mean, this is a huge league showdown in the Mount Hamilton division.
It
and,
is.
And what Maggie Curry is doing for Lee, averaging just over a goal per game and nearly an assist. So what she's able to do is outstanding. So she's going to be a player to watch out for. And then for Pioneer, I mean, it's Destiny Triggs.
The destiny is all theirs.
Exactly.
That.
Averaging a goal per game, an outstanding forward for those Mustangs. So I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup.
I think so too.
I won't be
It's-
surprised if this is like a 2-1 game or 1-0 game.
Yeah.
I don't see a blowout. Honestly, I don't see like a 3-0 game. But again, anything
Watch
can
this,
happen, right?
watch this
Anything
be
can
a
happen.
3-2 game.
Oh,
And,
well, and that's fine. I'll take that. I'll
Is
take
this
that.
in the bowl at Lee?
Huh?
Is it
I
at
think it's
Lee?
at Lee.
It's at Lee?
In the bowl. All right, let's go.
All right.
Love to see it.
Okay.
All right, boys soccer now.
Well, we only have one this week.
Yeah, one for
Yeah.
each.
And
One
don't
for
try
each
to call an
sport.
audible again.
No,
all right?
how
You do
can
that
I?
again.
We have we're shooting 3 girls soccer games.
Well, you
so-
just tried to pull an audible on Jake earlier. All
Well, I'm
right.
sorry.
So yeah,
I'm so
don't
sorry.
be pulling audibles
I'm
again.
so sorry.
Acalanes Northgate, an interesting Diablo Valley showdown.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is actually really tough. But I'm going with the Acalanes Dons.
Okay.
It's no fun. I want to have a different pick than you, so I can
Dons.
tell you
Wait,
you're wrong.
now,
I'm
now
going
hold on.
Dons, too.
We did
I'm
not
going
discuss
Dons.
this. We did not discuss our picks
Dun, dun,
beforehand.
dun, dun.
Hey, we did not discuss our picks beforehand, right? So
No.
we're finding out our picks as we go.
No, I'm taking Acalanes. Again, another good program that's been rolling well.
Okay.
It's going to be a great league showdown. It's going to be competitive without a doubt. Without any real point spread, I won't go that far, but I'm seeing the Dons taking that
Okay.
one for sure.
All right. Cool.
All right, interesting game. All right, let's make our way over to basketball. Starting with girls basketball, this is a very interesting matchup. So both of these teams have one loss in league play, and both of these teams lost to Evergreen Valley already in
Yep.
league play. Branham Prospect.
I think we're gonna pick the same team.
It's at Prospect.
Should we say it at the same
Oh, it's
time?
at Prospect, huh?
Yep.
Should we say it at the same time?
Okay, ready?
You count us in. We'll
All
kind of say
right.
it at the same time.
1, 2, 3.
Branham.
Yep, that's
All
right.
right.
I knew it.
I see
Yeah.
Branham being able to get it done there against Prospect. That's another great program.
On the road.
On the road.
That's right.
On the road. And you know what? I'm okay with being wrong. Because if Prospect come in and, in my mind, upset Branham, and they're at home.
Yeah. No, honestly, I don't think. I think this game's gonna be a blowout.
Okay.
Blowout.
I think it's gonna be a blowout.
in favor of Branham.
Favorite Branham. I already picked Branham. I can't go
Well,
back.
I gotta clarify. I want to make sure
yeah,
you're not
I
switching
think
up
Branham's
on
gonna
me.
blow him out.
All right,
Okay.
there we
All
go.
right, last but not least.
My
Oh, now
favorite-
this one. Now this
Last-
one we might be a little bit different.
last
though. Hold
but
on,
not
hold on.
least.
All right, here we go.
This
Here we
is
go.
our Crumble Cookies game of the week.
Jake. You'll be there.
I will be there.
Get there
I've,
early.
I've never covered a matchup like this with
Oh.
for the Battle of Oakland. Pretty
let
much.
let me be the first to tell you, and Tyler can really vouch for this because
Oh
he was
yeah,
there.
he
last
covered the
year.
NorCal game.
This, I highly suggest to get to Oakland Tech at like 5:30,
Okay.
or maybe even 5 because
Okay.
it's gonna get packed
Yep.
real fast.
Yep, the stands will be packed. Everyone shows up.
Oh, absolutely!
Everyone
this is the
shows
game.
up.
This is the game right here.
Oakland Tech. You covered them in NorCal last year. You've covered them numerous times. and,
Absolutely, yep.
I mean, when you talk about this rivalry within the past few years, you think of, you think of Amari Muhammad
Yeah.
running the point. You think of the outstanding Money Williams, who went
Money,
on
money,
to
money,
lead Oakland High to a state
state
title a
championship
couple
game,
years
yeah.
ago. And then last year,
Ardarius Grayson.
Ardarius Grayson with, having a great game. And then I believe Caleb Rollins was also on that roster as well for Oakland Tech. Ardarius Grayson, by the way, averaging 18 points for Oakland Tech this season. So, I mean, this is the game.
This is the one.
This is the game.
Cannot wait.
Tyler, I'm gonna let you pick first.
You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm taking Tech. I'm taking Tech all the way.
All right.
Strictly because of Ardarius Grayson. I mean, he's got to be one of the most explosive basketball players in the Bay Area, I'd argue. There's a lot of great ones. I'm not going to say he's the best, and I'm not calling anyone the best. But he is up there for me in the way that he is so twitchy and explosive, and the way he could explode to the rim, as well as play defense, as well as he is. He's a stonewall in a lot of different ways. It's going to be a close game like it is every year between those two teams, no matter how many times they match up against each other. But I'm taking Tech over OH.
Oh, this is really tough, actually. I'm going to go with Oakland. I'm going to go with Ojai, last second game winner from Rom Neal. Calling it right now, Oakland. Oakland
Did we
High.
say this is at Tech?
At
It's
Tech.
Okay.
So
One thing that you got to keep in mind, guys, is that both of these teams have played Weston Ranch this season. Oakland High beat Weston Ranch. Oakland Tech did not.
yeah.
Sure.
So Weston Ranch, they had a really tough non-league schedule, if I recall correctly. They faced some tournaments, and
I think they were in the what's that big tournament called? It's at Reardon's in that tournament too. I forgot what it was, but it's like a small town.
Gridley.
The Gridley. I think they were at the Gridley Invitational this year.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Liberty was another team that shocked a lot of people, including myself, that went on to beat Weston Ranch as well. So it's like, all right, Liberty on the map now, and what John Hines is doing over there is fantastic. But I mean, going back to the Oakland Tech game, I mean, I think this is going to be a game that's going to come down to one possession. I'm not going to tell you who's going to win this game. I want an amazing game. It all comes down to one possession.
I think you will get that. I think there's a very likely chance. And if it's anything like the game I covered in NorCal's last year, you are going to be on the baseline with the cheerleaders and then fans standing next to you. It's standing room only. If it's anything like last time.
Yeah, that's why.
Don't they do? Doesn't Oakland Tech do the cheer? Watch them hit that free shot.
That's
shot.
right. They do.
It's like,
Yeah.
go to the stomping,
It
man.
is
Let me tell you,
very
man.
loud. Yeah,
The atmosphere
Miss
is
it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Honestly, I get it. That this game's at Tech, and they're gonna play again in Oakland High School. This game should be at Oracle, or not even. It's not even called Oracle. This game should be in the Oakland Arena, home of the former home of the Golden State Warriors. Just because they can get more people in, and
But okay, but I'm going to interrupt because I'm torn on that, because I love a full house shoulder to shoulder high school gym, because yes, that is a cool environment for them in a big arena like that. You get more people in, but at the end of the day, you're not going to sell it out, thousand upon thousand. It's still empty in comparison to the size of the place.
Yeah.
Right.
You're going to get more people than you in a high school gym, but the atmosphere of a high school gym, everyone's packed in together.
Okay, so-
or at the very least, maybe a college gym. Give me like a
Laney.
Laney. There you
No,
go.
well, I'll tell you right now.
DVC.
They played.
Laney.
I'll tell you right now. They played at Laney a couple
they
years
sold
ago,
it out, right?
and not only did they sold out, there were people outside trying to get in,
Tech was the same thing in NorCal's last year. There's people outside the door watching.
and they
And
were
they had it blocked
literally
off.
trying to at Laney. They were like,
All right,
trying
I'll
to
get
go
there
through-
early.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Are you catching the hint now?
Get there
Yeah.
at 5. I mean, we'll set up the pickup at like very early.
And I'm thinking about your reporter
Friday.
stand up. You got to find room for your tripod and everything set up, because it's
You know
that
what?
tight.
Honestly, I would just do well. See, this is tough, right? I mean, I was gonna say do your stand up at halftime, but then,
I'll manage.
No.
yeah,
I'll
but then you kind of take away
Jake
from
is
like
you know what? Jake is a pro's pro.
Oh,
If
yeah.
anyone's
I'll
gonna get it down,
manage.
it's this guy. So
I'll manage.
That's
Listen,
your
that's why
game.
we gave
We
you
got
the game, Jake.
we got some good picks. We got some
Listen,
great games.
we all have experienced Oakland Tech.
I've never shot
That's
a
why
matchup
we're
like
giving
this.
it to you.
No, this is my first time
Oh, I'm
shooting
excited for
Oakland
you.
my,
Tech.
listen, once you cover this game, when you go back home, and you'll be like, damn, I want to shoot this game again.
It's
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
All right. Should be interesting.
That's it. Is that it?
Exciting week of matchups that we got for you for both soccer and basketball. That's all the time we have for you. Next week, we're going to give you our starting 5 lineups for both boys and girls basketball. You don't want to miss that.
I like that.
And it's safe to
All right.
say,
Oh no! Oh no!
you've... Oh, right on the camera.
Right on the camera.
You've been covered.